Evictions are a good thing. So how you doing, guys? I'm Scott Jelinek, and I wanted to do a quick video for you on evictions being a good thing. So this topic just came up at our meeting. You know, I have the Freedom Accelerator Program, and I have a lot of students in there. And so we had a meeting this past week, and one of the students in there was talking about how they're going through 2 evictions right now. And you know, we got into thinking about it, and I was trying to, I'm a bright side thinker, right? I'm always trying to, you know, let's look at the bright side. Let's see how this is good. Let's see how this can help you. And so it came up with an interesting point with evictions. So first off, let me tell you, if you're watching going, how are evictions a good thing? No, evictions are not a good thing. We don't ever want to have to do an eviction. We don't want vacant properties. We don't want to have to go through the added expense of a non-payer, of the turnover, of filling it again. So the short answer is no, evictions are not a good thing. So how is it good then? And I'm going to tell you how it's good. So our business, if you are into SlowFlips, right, and that's who this is for, if you are a slow flipper, our business is often taught and preached as it's passive income, right? But then you guys who are doing it clearly know it's not passive. There's a lot of work that's going into this. And then I sometimes think about it, I'm like, well, how come they have so much work? But I don't have that much work. I have almost 180 of them, and I have almost no work. It's just kind of on autopilot. I get paid on the first, and very rarely do I have to do anything, let alone an eviction or send out a late notice or anything. And I'm like, well, why is it different? And as I had time to think about it, I realized it's different solely because of time. Because in our business, in the SlowFlip business, in the business that you're in, right? The whole idea of SlowFlips is all predicated on us finding our lifer. And what we consider our lifer, what we call our lifer, is a property. You might buy a SlowFlip house, and you may have a buyer that lasts there 3 months, 6 months, a year and a half, and then it'll turn over. And then it might have another one last 6 months and turn over. That is not passive, and that will make you pull your hair out. Remember, I used to not be gray before I got into this. I'm just kidding about that. However, that will drive you crazy, and you'll be thinking, is this even worth it? That's not passive. However, it is all based on finding our lifer. And what our lifer is, and you'll know your lifer when you have it. Sometimes you get lucky and get it on your first buyer. Sometimes it's your third buyer or your fifth buyer. Your lifer, when they move into your property, you will know right away because they are renovating it. They are planting flowers out front. They are changing the front door, putting in new light fixtures, sending you pictures because they're so proud of the work they're doing. They plan on living there for the rest of their lives. That is your lifer. Once you have lifers, there's no more work in this business. And that's what I started before saying, well, how come mine is so easy and other people have a struggle and they only have 10 properties? Well, it's because they don't have the lifers yet. And I used to not have the lifers, but as you turn them over, it might be your second again. It might be your second buyer, your first buyer, your fifth buyer. Once you get your lifer, that house is more or less dead to you. You're never going to see or hear from it again. All you're going to do is get a check every month on the first. But we don't always get the lifer on the first try. I wish we did. What a fantastic world that would be, right? We don't always get our lifer on the first try. So back to how we started this video, which is why evictions are good for your business. Like I said, they're not really good for your business. Nobody wants to do an eviction. But as a bright side thinker, one positive thing about an eviction is you're getting out somebody who is now known to not be a lifer, and you're getting your second try. Your second person to put in who may or may not be your lifer. But once you get your lifer, if you know that's not a lifer, then the quicker you can get them out and get somebody new in, the better, right? Because now we're working on churning to that process. Once you get your properties, and let's say you have 20, right? Once you get the first 5 on lifers, now you're dealing with 15. Then you get another 5. All you have to worry about is 10 properties. You get another 5, you have 5 properties. Once all 20 of them are on lifers, you're more or less done. Your job now is just collecting the payment on the first, paying out if you still have a private lender, or just paying yourself. There's no more work once you have all lifers. And the only way you're going to get to all lifers is by churning. And that is the bright side. That is the upside. That is the reason why I said evictions can be a good thing. Although they are going to be a headache, they're going to be costly, you're going to have lost revenue, you're going to have expenses if you're paying for an attorney, going to court. All the negative things with evictions still hold true. So I'm not trying to say you want to do an eviction. Obviously, evictions are bad no matter how you're going to look at it. However, on the bright side, get it over with, and you're going to be one step closer toward getting your lifer, which is really what this business is all about. Once you've been in the business for a while, and it might take you 5 years, might take you 8 years, who knows how long it takes, and all your properties are converted to lifers, that's when you're going to love it the most. And there's really, at that point, you're just the bank, you're just processing payments. That's all I got for you guys today. I wanted to share that with you because it just came up in a meeting that we had when I was talking with one of the people in my program. And then I realized, I said, you know what, that is actually true. Evictions are good for your business in the long run, hard on the short run, great for your business in the long run. And I wanted to share that with everybody else. So thank you guys for watching. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will see you soon.